Shantae Brown couldn't be more proud. She says she has two accomplished sons who are both very protective of their mom. That's because Shantae has an autoimmune disease that puts her at greater risk of severe symptoms from COVID-19 and its variants.
I can die. With me having a suppressed immune system, I'm already fighting other stuff. I have lupus, SLE, and I take immunosuppressants.
Because of this, she was deprived of spending valuable time with sons Jordan and Cameron.
So they wanted to protect me. After months, it got very frustrating. Cameron didn't come home at all for 7 or 8 months.
But she would not miss Jordan's graduation from Wichita State University.
He is a first generation in our family graduate of a 4-year school.
And this proud mom was determined to attend Cameron's Ohio State Buckeyes football games. She did it with an N95 covered by a mask of bling. And in time, the vaccines.
I wear my mask at games even though we're outside.
That's because when the Delta variant surged, so did her concerns. Shantae says her blood test showed how the vaccine did not give her the same protection as healthy people while taking her immunosuppressant prescription. She worked through her fears while participating in a research study at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis.
Start getting blood drawn like every 4 to 5 weeks. I think I got a total of 8 blood draws.
Lead senior author of the study, rheumatologist Dr. Alfred Kim and his team use the blood samples for testing. The samples are collected from vaccinated immunosuppressed patients.
Patients with chronic inflammatory diseases on immunosuppression, people with inflammatory bowel diseases such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. We also looked at people with rheumatoid arthritis, systemic lupus erythematosus, multiple sclerosis, and related diseases. We let the patients on their own get the vaccine, and then they volunteer to then have us study their responses.
They discovered a weaker antibody response from vaccines in samples from patients with autoimmune diseases taking immunosuppressants.
Most people on immunosuppression are able to mount some sort of antibody response, albeit at a slightly reduced level. But that slightly reduced level still had some protection against the common variant or the variant that existed last year.
A patient's antibody protection provided by the COVID-19 vaccines vary depending on their type of immunosuppressant.
Drugs that have the most impact, such as B-cell depleting agents or prednisone, or glucocorticoids, will likely have a reduced protective effect.
The study is spanning months now, from before the Delta variant into the surge of the Omicron variant. During this time, a discovery was made when testing the quality of antibody response to the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine in immunosuppressed patient samples. They wanted to know whether vaccination elicits antibodies that are effective against Delta.
We identified people on a major class of immunosuppression called TNF inhibitors. It's a very commonly used drug for inflammatory bowel disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and other diseases. It seems like that TNF inhibitor users have a specific defect that potentially blocks their ability to be able to at least fight off Delta variant in a petri dish.
Researchers even collected enough immunocompromised patient samples to evaluate antibody response against Omicron and future variants. Currently, they are testing samples for neutralizing potential against Omicron. But Kim says, like Delta, just how immunosuppressants impact protection against Omicron is likely highly dependent on the immunosuppressant itself. As Dr. Kim continues to examine this, he predicts the drugs that impede responses in past studies will also impede immune responses to Omicron.
Now, does that mean that these people are less protected? That answer we do not know. We actually don't know what level of antibodies are enough to generate protection, and then what is too little. So this is something that has been very difficult to portray to patients because they are oftentimes getting antibody results on their own, and they're asking us to interpret it. And this is something that has been, it's challenging because we don't know what that level means.
Kim says the overall study supports the use of monoclonal antibodies before COVID-19 infection as protection for immunocompromised patients. And Dr. Kim says the arrival of pre-exposure prophylaxis and new antivirals will provide some cushion for patients with poor vaccine responses, which is something that he feels needs to happen.
It seems like that variants can emerge out of immunosuppressed people who are hospitalized. So this is important to make sure that this very vulnerable population is protected one way or the other, whether it's through vaccination and providing additional doses, but if that doesn't work, through things like pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Shantae says she appreciates the research and is happy to have been included in a study that provides valuable information.
I think it's really important. I think science is important. And if I can help with something, I want to do it.